do a quick presentation here to introduce the website basics. And what we plan to do is a 30-minute overview designed for new associates. And in particular, it's going to go over the websites we get with our $40 joining fee when we join ASEA, and also some other websites. How to join, how to buy, top items in our virtual office or the back office, and some elements of the top support sites. Any new venture can be overwhelming, no matter what it is. Whether you're starting a job at the corner supermarket, there's tons of things to learn and absorb. So we want to be prepared for that. And a big part of what our trainings are doing here is we're bringing in those most important elements that a new person would want to know when they're first starting up. So we don't want to overwhelm people with too much information, but be prepared because there is a lot of information, and just boil it back down to those basic elements as we move along here. Let me go ahead into the websites. So the Team ASEA page is a replicated page that every new associate gets when they join ASEA. It's part of the $40 fee when you join. And this is a website you might put on your business card or at the bottom of your email. It's a website that people can join and buy from you in particular. And there is lots of good information here, but we find that another website, the corporate website, ASEA Global, is better for presenting information. It's a little more clearly laid out. So we kind of look at this as the main purposes for joining and buying. And the site is defined by what's called your username. In this case, our username is livewell. It's livewell.username.teamasea.com. You can also go to www.teamasea.com/username. And you can also put your ID number in instead of the username. So what happens is the username defines a specific person who the site belongs to. And anybody who joins or buys through that website will be attributed to the person whose website it is. If you give someone your website, your Team ASEA website, and they might go in through search engine and type it in, and the search engine is going to come up with various Team ASEA sites, not necessarily yours. So the bottom line is people, and maybe they make a mistake in the spelling of your username. The bottom line is when you're pointing people to your Team ASEA website, make sure that they see that it's yours. So for example, it has our picture or the name. In this case, we are Livewell. We just make sure people know that they're on the right site. So what I'm going to do here is very briefly go through the buy here and join here. And the reason this is good to know is, of course, as you bring your new people in, you need to be able to tell them how to do it, how it works. So I'm going to really go through this very quickly as far as how a customer would join. And of course, you have the choice between a preferred customer and a retail customer, and it describes what that difference is. I'm just going to check preferred customer, but also this is a way a customer can sign into their customer account. Customers get their own miniature back office where they can change auto ship, they can change quantities, they can delete auto ship. It's limited function. Of course, they don't have a full back office because they're not associates. But let me go ahead and click submit here. And first thing it's going to do is ask which country you're in. If you're in Utah in the US, you can choose to pick the product up at the warehouse. That would be will call, and save the shipping charge. Let's just assume we're in the United States. There's all different countries. And click next. And I wanted to be a preferred customer, so I'm going to click enroll again. You have your boxes here, and when you choose one of the boxes, it's going to default to a certain order. In this case, the order is 4 bottles, and you can see the picture of the 4 bottles. And this is one thing that you need to have your people understand because they might not know about it. But typically an arrow in any website, little caret, I call them little carrots. You can see the little V there. If you click on that, that gives you options. So for example, if I wanted to order more than one case, I click on the drop down and I can order 4 cases. And if I want to change from cases to something else, you have to click on this option here, and then I could change, for example, to pouches, and you can see how the picture changes. So just be aware of these carrots and let your people know how that works. And you see the card up here now has 0 in it. You see my mouse up here on the top right. I'm going to add to the cart, and you can see now it has 1 up in the cart. I'm going to click continue. We're going through these various steps at the top here. That last step was called enrollment. Even though they're not associates, they're enrolling as a customer. So now we're on the first order. So I can just click next. And now it's asking me about the auto ship. So again, you can pick different options. Let me click this one here, the combinations. Again, it shows a default, but you click on the arrow and it gives you options. So I'm just going to add the case 2 tubes to the cart and continue. So let me look at this cart now so you're familiar with that. I can actually go up and click on the cart, and you can see the first order is shown here that I chose, and that's going to ship right away. And the auto ship order is here, but see, it says it now. The auto ship is going to actually ship, the first one's going to ship a month now. And then from then on, it's going to process the 4th of each month. So it's not going to be charged until a month from now and when it ships. If I want to change these things, I can do edit or remove. You can see little edit and removes there. So, but I'll just keep it the same. And you can go back and forth between steps, etc. Let me just go to next. Now it's gone to information. And all I'm going to say about this is the asterisks are required. You see these asterisks? Oops. Asterisks are required. So bottom line, just go through, fill out all the asterisk items. Be aware that a customer will have a username and a password. That's what they can use to sign into their little customer back office. And then if I click next, after I do all this, it's going to go into the credit card information, the payment information, and then it'll verify and go to submit. So that's what I wanted to show you here. Let me go back, Team Asia site. And the next thing I'm going to do is just click buy here, join here, and it's going to basically go through the exact same process. The only reason I bring this up is 2 things. One is and now you have to click on associate over here. The reason I'm bringing this up is you have promotional packs, and I'm going to show you where we have summaries of these promotional packs. Let me just click on that. And it shows a good description of the default one. Again, you have to click the arrow, the caret. And here's another little tip. If your screen size is small, the options may roll off the screen. And be aware, this again is a standard in the internet. You have a scroll bar on the side so you can scroll up and down the options. So these are little tips you need to be aware of. So if your person is not so computer literate, you can help them with that. So it gives you, I just chose a pack, a promotional pack, and then it gives you choices to add more products to your first order. I'm just going to continue without placing more products. Then just like before, add the auto ship. I have the choice of ignoring that and just continue without auto ship. And see a business coach, it gives you a chance of getting as ABC, see a business coach. And the only thing I'm going to mention is there's more asterisks now. It's going to require tax information unless you're joining through the ASEA Global program, ASEA Global Reach. And I'm not going to really mention too much about to see a global reach, but it's a similar sign up for the new countries in Asia and places like that. So I'm not, if you have questions about that, you have to get with us in a different setting or with your upline. And there's more asterisks, like the government ID number. So that's all I want to say about that. Now I can go back to the beginning. So that's the first two websites I wanted to show you. The third is our back office. The third website is your back office, and you can, and one way to enter that is through your login up here at the top right. And you can actually bookmark this login. I actually bookmark it. It's cmivirtualoffice.com. So I bookmark it so I can get right into it. Now this website is the one that you have to sign into. It's your back office, your virtual office. It's for your business. You don't give the login information to your customers or whatever. You can share that information with your upline or your mentor, your helper, and they can go in with you and help you around in your back office. But let's go in. The customers do have a similar back office, but it's very limited, like I said, just to changing ownerships. And what I'm going to do here is show you the other two ways of signing a person up. And let me just jump really quickly to them because we were on that at the beginning. But under My Business, I can do a new customer or associate enrollment here. And if I click on that, it's essentially the exact same thing that I did on Team ASEA page, except I now have the information for the customer or the associate, and I'm going to put it in myself. And not to lose train of thought, but let me just show you. If I go to A-Team support, our support page, it's actually under, if I scroll down a little bit, frequently used forms is a good place to go. And on here is some enrollment forms you can use. So let me just click on one of these. And it's going to open up here. And I'm just kind of moving by train of thought, but this is a good thing to give to your people, especially if you're at a meeting with them, and they can have a visual of what these packs look like and are, or a summary of the packs. And you can actually, especially if they're at a meeting, you can have them fill this out after the meeting and take it home, and then you could enter them. It's all the information needed for the person to sign up is captured on this form. Personally, I like to have people sign themselves up through the Team ASEA page so they understand how it works. But other people, like my wife, she likes to capture their information and do it herself so that she knows it gets done. Also some nice picture summaries of the promotional packs in here. Here they are, enrollment kit special flyers. I call them promotional packs. So you click here, it gives you good descriptions of these promotional packs all on one page and what you save. So this is another good thing you can give people. Okay, so that was kind of a diversion. Let me go back to back office. And what I want to do is go to the third way of signing a person up. And that would be under my reports. And if I go to binary placement tree. Now, a big caution on this, you don't do this unless you know what you're doing, because people can be put in the wrong place here. And I'll get to the, we're going to talk a little bit of how placement works. But bottom line is this report will give a graphical view of your tree. When you hover over people with your mouse, it'll show who they are. If you click on that person, it will give you some detail on the person if they're in your personal group. If they're not in your personal group, all it gives is their name. And you can actually click on these gray circles to place a new enrollee here. And if I do that, it's going to come up with the exact same forms that I just did. And bottom right for this person, in this case, has some spillover here because Joe's never enrolled anybody. But I can go to the bottom right. And bottom right would be this circle right here, actually. So that's the only two places where we basically say you should enroll someone, bottom right, bottom left. And we have a training on why that is. But let me show you a couple other things here for more advanced users. You can click on these words, organization, for example, and it opens up some options. And one thing I like to do is use this search feature where you can search for last name first. And all you need to do is type in a few of the letters, and it'll come up with any options for the search. In this case, Joe doesn't have anybody in their personal group, so it comes up with no options. It's only your personal group. But I like that as your group gets bigger. It's a nice search feature to find people if you can't remember their full name. The second thing I'd like to show is you can change the number of levels down to 99. So it shows 99 levels of your graphical view. You can also change from binary to sponsorship view. And if I click on format, you can make these little triangles and circles bigger or smaller to fit more on a page, and some other things. And you have to click update report before any of these take effect. So that's a little more advanced tips for you people. So that's the third way to sign the person up. Let me go back to the home page and continue on with some of the top reports. So we're on the home page. This is your website that you sign into. In this case, it's my brother Joe, who's basically he was a customer, actually an occasional customer, who my sister signed up. So there's not much to see in his back office, but I'll show you the features. The number one thing you and your people need to know about this is the qualifications, what I call widget. It's a report summary right here. And this should be looked at least once a week before Friday, because what it does, it shows you in a glance where you are in relation to the next level. And you might be very close to a level, and you have a person who's ready to order, and this will prompt you to say, hey, I'm going to call that guy and either make it happen or find out what he's up to. So it's very important. And you may think you're at a level, but this will tell you something's missing. So it's very important to look at this at least once a week. The key thing I'll say about it is anything that is in colors is good. If it's in gray, it's bad. So in this case, the rank is associate, which is what you get when you join. And that's all you need to do to be an associate is join. And you have 0 of 0 personal volume required. So that's actually blue, but it doesn't get you anywhere. So let's go ahead and click on director. So I can click on these little arrows again and change to something different. So now I'm a director. The requirement of director is to have 100 personal volume. So now Joe is gray here. And to have a personally enrolled active left, personally enrolled active right, both grayed out because he hasn't done that. By default, this will go to the level the next level you're ready to achieve. But you can move it to whatever you want. So for example, I can go to director 700. And now the binary lesser leg volume shows how close your lesser leg is to the next limit. And when you go, for example, to the executive levels, now it brings in a director 300 requirements. When this bar fills up, it's going to be red and like a thermometer until you reach the full level. Then it turns green, I believe. So that's that. And let me just show you a more detailed qualification report is under My Reports, under Bonus Qualification. That gives you more detail on that same report that we just looked at. So on this homepage, there's going to be all your promotions and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into detail on each of them. You can explore them with your sponsor or your upline as needed. But they're very good features to show where you are in relation to promotions. All right, so this will answer Ellen's question. Changing website name. Well, before I do that, we were on the discussion of enrolling people. When people enroll with either the first or second ways I showed you, Team ASEA page or under here, they're going to be enrolled according to your preferred placements that are set. So let's go there under My Account. Preferred placements, placement preferences. Let's go to that. And the default is balanced. And you can read what balanced means here. It describes it. It does a very good job, whatever, 95% of the time. However, there are times at a certain point when one leg in particular gets stronger than the other, you'll want to have people go either to your left or right leg. And this will, when you say update, you have to click update. But anybody that comes in through your Team ASEA page or your through this way will be placed according to what's these preferences settings here. So the other thing I want to mention is, well, a general rule is you want to do your first placements, your first enrolls with your knowledgeable upline, because there are some times you don't want to do what the balance suggests, and your upline will help you with that. Because sometimes if people know each other, you might then want them to go in all the same leg, in which case you would use, for example, that graphical tree binary, the graphical tree way of joining a person. So that's preferred placements. And then to get to Ellen's question, there's a lot of information under My Account here. But to change your website name, you go to either My Contact Information or My Settings. I forget which, but we can look. Let's look at My Contact. So there we go. So here is not, so that's their personal information, not what we were looking for. And you can hide or show certain aspects on your Team ASEA page from this. So let's go to My Settings. There it is. So here is your business site address you can change. And it shows you can either go through your ID number, teamasea.com, or your, in this case, your username.teamasea.com. So you can change that here. Save settings. You have to save things before they get changed. So let's look, while we're in account services here, look at other things. You can also change your not just your username, but you can change your password here for your back office. The other ones you want to know about as you start to earn paychecks, you want to know about your earnings summary. You can go there and look at that. And the detail of what is in the paycheck is shown here in the commissions detail. And of course, you'll want to get to your Smart Wallet. Your Smart Wallet is a separate website, but it's like a bank website. If I click here, it's referring me to a bank website, essentially. Typically, I just go to my Smart Wallet through ASEASmartWallet.com. Okay, so that kind of goes through those top things. I'm kind of going at a random direction here, but probably the next most important thing I'd say is the dashboard. Let's click on Dashboard here. And here it comes. There's a lot of information here on Dashboard. So what I like to do is point out that it's really only these top 5 things here that are most important in the dashboard. So all the other numbers don't totally mean anything. Of course, your rank is a good one to know about, but let's just make this a little bigger. So what I want to point out in the dashboard is this is a more detailed way of looking at your qualification widget. It shows you right up front whether you're active or when you're active through. And it shows you whether you're binary qualified, which means you're director or above. You have an active person on your left and right. But let's look at the personal volume here. The definition of active means you have at least 100 personal volume. But it's not just you're on auto ship. The real definition of active is you have at least 100 points in the last 5 weeks. So here's the current week, and it goes back 5 weeks here. So say Joe last week had 100 points here. Last week it was showing up in this last column. Joe would have been active last week, of course. And here we are in this week now. That 100 points actually rolled off, and it's showing all zeros. You could put that 100 points back in within this current week before Friday and show 100 points on this current week to maintain his active status. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but if that 100 points had rolled off the previous week, you can actually have all zeros shown here and get your 100 points before the end of this current week to maintain your active status. That's a little more involved, and then we have left and right volume. And let me mention, personal volume is not just your auto ship or your personal orders, but also your personal customers will contribute to that. And you could have, for example, 50 here and 50 here, and that would add up to the 100 required, or 200 as you're in the bronze or above. Okay, so left volume, right volume is your current week's volume. And then what happens is your left and right total will include any carryover, any banked volume that was not used in previous weeks. So that's really the top things I look at here. The other thing would be click to view projected auto ship report. As your group gets bigger and you're looking at future weeks, you want to be familiar with the auto ship report. And I get into a lot of detail on that with the dashboard diagnostics report or webinar, which I just archived under 18 basics. Let me go there. So 18 basics is this. I'm going to put the archives for the current Saturday. It's a Saturday basics webinar archives. And for now, you're on the live webinar right now. But for now, the archives, I do have just this dashboard diagnostics is here. So I'm going to put in today's webinar here after I get done. And I'll throw a couple other webinars on here in the archive, Saturday basics webinars. So let me go back to the back office. Okay, so here's the home page. So let me go through the other reports that are most important. So under my reports, it has earnings summaries here also, as well as over under my account. But as your group gets bigger, you definitely want to be familiar with rank advancements. When it's small, 5, 10, 15 people, we would assume you're in touch with all these people and know who's advancing in rank. But as it gets bigger, 30, 40, 50 or more people, definitely keep on top of that because you want to congratulate the people who advance in rank in your group. Once you're in bronze, at bronze executive levels and above, you want to know what's going on with the EMP report, the executive momentum pool. So make sure you're familiar with that as you get close to or at bronze. And also as you get close to bronze, you want to know what's going on in your Director 300 leg report. So I'm not going to get into details. I'll do that. I think that the fourth week of the month webinar will be some of these reports in detail. But just be aware you need to know this as you get close to bronze. Another very useful report, again, as your group gets bigger, not at the beginning, is the volume totals report. But if you have over 100 people in your group, for example, you want to be familiar with the volume totals report because it's a nice way of seeing how people are doing over time in your group. There's the projected auto ship again, which actually shows people who are going off of auto ship. So it's kind of like the inactive report. But in any case, these top reports is what I'm looking for. Here's another search, but I actually prefer the search through the graphical tree like I showed you. So let's go on. Resources, you want to be familiar with the library. Let me just click on that very briefly. And the reason you want to be familiar with that is because there's a lot of information here, in particular, like forms again, and the compensation plan and policy documents and some videos, but price lists. But also, you can change the language. So for example, if I want to have Swedish, let's see, I can change it and shows you information in Swedish. So it's a nice way to help support your people in other countries. So that's the library. Also under resources is the events calendar. Well, there's some chats going on there. Let me look at them in a second. I would say a better, more comprehensive events calendar is on our A-Team support. Let me just show you that very briefly. I mean events, excuse me, I'm on forms. If I click on events, this is actually probably a better summary, but I might not have everything posted in here. If I click on upcoming meetings, this a lot of times is going to have more meetings than are shown in your back office calendar, because I keep this up to date probably better. But let me go back to the back office calendar, wherever it was. And there's events here. First off, there's a difference between corporate and associate events. The weekly events in local areas. I do not put local events in local areas on my website. I let people do that here. But in this case, the repeating event is our Europe meetings. The reason this is good to look at is it might remind you of someone you know in that area. So you might say, hey, I know somebody in Thousand Oaks, or you might have a downline in Thousand Oaks that's not so active. You can click on it, get the information, and invite that person to attend the meeting long distance. So very useful tool. Either way, whether you use an A-Team support events or this to do it. And briefly, I'll mention associates can add their own new event. I just added these European meetings here yesterday, and they very quickly got it up, which is nice, by clicking on this new event tab. See back office. Okay, let me see here. I think I went through resources, recognition, nothing, dashboard we went through, my business. Okay, so this is a very important one for everybody, newer, even if when you're brand new, is the My Order tracking. Well, also manage auto ship. This is where you can manage your own auto ship. You can edit the current auto ship, add an auto ship, cancel an auto ship, all without having to call support. It's a great feature. Order tracking is a very important one because you can not only track your own orders, but your personal customers, not your downline customers, but your personal customers. And let me just click on that and see what happens. So you can actually click on the underlines and see some of the, this doesn't show it now, but when they're current orders, you can actually click on the package tracking and see where the package is. So I think that's all I want to go through the back office. And what I'm going to do, we went over our 30 minutes. So I'm going to zip to the other websites I wanted to cover and then get the questions. So the other website I wanted to mention that is not part of the website you get with the $40 joining fee, but are available to everybody, is one in particular is the ASEA Global website. Very, very good website. We get into more on these websites actually in the, I do a webinar on the tools that we're going to be posting also. And we get more into these websites there, but this is a very good website to be familiar with, to use as a tool, in particular a follow-up tool for your people. So if you want more detail on that, check out the tools webinar that will be posted to A-Team Basics soon. And the other website would be, and if you're not familiar with A-Team support, we just added something here that Trish, she did a training on some of the top features about this website. So you can watch that here. And if I go to the front page, when I started at the beginning, I talked about keeping things simple so people don't get overwhelmed. And that's what we try to do with the 1, 2, 3 for getting started. just some basic elements of things you need to know to get started. And that's also why I point out the top features in the back office. Hopefully just the top 10 features you need to know as you get started. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover here. Let me see what we're going to be doing next week. If I go to events, actually, if I go to conference calls and webinars now, click on that. There's all the different conference calls. It's a nice feature we just got added here, where you just click on them and it opens up what you want to see. So here we are. Next week, we're planning on doing a binary detail training where it gets into detail on what's going on in the binary portion of the comp plan and the rules and why you do this and why you place person here and there. Prerequisite for that is to watch some of the basic commissions. If you want to be familiar with commissions and structures. And a good place to be familiar with the commissions is on our home page here. You scroll down a little bit under understanding the comp plan. These have all been updated and broken into short segments, relatively short segments for each part of the pay plan. So they're here, and it's good idea to watch this one in particular, team commissions, before you go to my more advanced webinar on that. So, and Trish does one here too. It's similar to the same thing I'm going to do next week. So that said, thanks for attending. If you have any questions at this point, feel free to hang around and ask them. You can unmute yourself by the microphone down at the bottom left. And
hey, Bob, in Australia, right now in Sydney, Australia, it's 4 a.m. in the morning.
oh my.
How can someone over there watch this? Is there something like this training for this person to watch?
Well, that's Wendy. That was Wendy, right? So
Helen.
Oh, it didn't pop up properly for me.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's weird. Normally it highlights who's talking. So maybe I turn off stop. So what I'm going to do is show you where you can watch this at any time.
Okay.
Thanks for being on so late. So.
No, I've been here all the time.
That's what I mean. Late in the morning.
Oh,
late in the morning. You're early then, let me put it that way. So if I go to A-Team Support again and click on this conference calls webinar section.
Yes.
You click on where we are now, this Saturday Basics webinars. Typically what we do is we show archives for each of these right here. So the archives are going to be on ateambasics.com.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on that. Actually, I had it here. And at this point, it'll bring you here. At this point, so here's the A-Team Basics webinar held on Saturdays. For the live webinar, it gives you click here. So here's the information for what you're on now. You already know it because you're here, of course. But here's the live information. But the archives are going to be below that. And so far, I just have one, but we're going to be archiving these as we go now. With the new website, everything's updated. So we had these archived in the old website, the series of trainings. So you can go here, is the bottom line.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Those, I kind of missed it. Those flyers that you showed before, you know, the packages and everything, how do I find that again to print them off?
Okay, so now we're going to go back to A-Team based support. So pretty much everything's on A-Team support. And
okay.
go to the home page. We also have a search feature, which I could try, but let me just show you. On the home page, what we did is we put these boxes underneath. These 1, 2, 3s are the basic elements, 1, 2, 3. But then probably the top 10 or 12 items are underneath here. One of them is frequently used forms. So that's where you could find
Okay. Okay.
But another thing, let me just try it. Let me search. So if I go to search here, let me try flyer. And you'll see some things pop up.
Mhm.
And there's different flyers. Flyers for events, flyers for different things, but just sound like the ones you were looking for, sign-up sheets, etc.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's it.
So that's another way to navigate this. You can use a search feature. And if I click on here, it's going to take me to that page again where I can see all the different things. So that search feature can help you too, is the point.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, I don't know if this is still on topic, but there's a form that you showed me once called the auto ship. It's the auto ship calendar.
Yeah. Hi, Alan. So
Hi, Bob. So some of our European friends want to take advantage of the launching of the Renew 28 Advanced with the bonus serum on the 13th, but their auto ship cycles on the 9th.
Yeah.
So they're wondering if they can push their auto ship back a few days to do that, or?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. So that goes right into, Ellen, what I actually answered that person. He emailed me. Bring that email over.
Oh, okay.
Actually, maybe you did, but let me bring that email over. It's very small, but maybe I can make it bigger. No, I can't.
Yeah, that's me.
Let me make it bigger, and this would be a good little training here.
Okay, great.
It's very small, so let me make it bigger. Sometimes I get confused between Ellen and Lauren and stuff, but you guys kind of share emails or something? I'm not sure. In any case.
Yes, we do. And sometimes apparently we share names too.
Okay. So this is, I'll put this up here, but I'll explain it a little bit. So actually, let me put it on the side of the dashboard. Let me bring the dashboard up here again. Put them side by side. So again, the definition of active is to have at least 100 points in 5 weeks. And sorry, Alan, I'm an engineer, so when I don't just give quick answers, I explain it.
No, it's great. It's great.
Is to be active within the last 5 weeks. Again, so it's not just being on auto ship or not on auto ship. So the easiest way to look at that, and I can't necessarily answer it for the person, but look at their dashboard. And if they, right now at this point, we're on, say, Saturday. So we're in this new week is on Saturday. Say they have 100 points. Well, what date are you talking about?
The 9th and the 13th. March 13th is when it launches, and their auto ship cycles on the 9th.
So next week. So their auto ship is on the 9th. So that's during this week.
Right. But they'd like to push it back to the 13th so that they can do.
So here's the thing. So let's just say they have $100 ship showing here, and it may be the case. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because the 9th is maybe equated to this week. I'm not sure. You have to look at it. So now, well, wait, actually 9th.
The week.
Okay, sorry. So say the auto ship is right here showing on the 5th week out. And here we are. There's going to be a new auto ship showing up on the 9th, which is going to be this week. So 4 days from now or 5 days from now, unless they change something, 100 is going to show up here again on the current week. But it's also here on the 5th week, unless I'm wrong. I think it would be there. So let's just say they postpone the auto ship right now. They have to do it, by the way, 3 days ahead of time before it processes. So make sure you do it at least three days ahead. So here it is Saturday, or Monday. They have to do it when they could do it online, but it won't take effect really until Monday. And now this current week will not show 100. But, and let's just pretend it goes to next week, and this gets confusing. But next week, that 100 that is showing here will roll off the screen. And they're going to end up with looking just like this next week. They're going to have all zeros. They have until the end of next week to get 100 in the current week. It gets confusing. But basically they have up until, because it really looks at 5 weeks, they have up until the end of next week to get their 100 showing. So from what I'm hearing you say, yes, they can do it. Postpone until next week, and they'll be fine. They have to make sure it absolutely ships next week, though, before the end of the week, because that's when the 100 points post. So it's kind of confusing because I can't see their exact back office, but I hope that explains it.
That helps a lot. So this is not directly related to the auto ship calendar then?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The auto ship calendar, the good point of that is it actually shows you the weeks of the month if you want to know them. But
Yeah.
we're already seeing the weeks of the month here.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful. So I'll look at their dashboards with them, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So the key point is active does not necessarily mean auto ship or the auto ship calendar, right?
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was
Thank you.
a good one. And it probably confused the heck out of people that don't really know what I'm talking about, but sorry about that. So any other questions before we head out?